Today we're replacing a water pump on a 3400 SFI engine. The water pump on this vehicle is like incredibly messed up. I hate this light. If you look at it, it's at an angle, but the bearings or something on the inside of it broke. So when we start the engine, the pulley is moving all over the place, and it's just worn out. So we got a new one, and we're going to replace it today. Hello, and welcome to Drive and Strive. If you're new here, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button down below and the bell icon right next to it, so you will be informed when I upload a new video. And don't forget to go to Instagram and follow me at Drive and Strive. Now let's get into the video. Alrighty guys, so here we go. I'm going to attempt to replace the water pump in this 3400 SFI engine. I've never replaced a water pump before, so hopefully it goes pretty smooth. And hopefully you guys will also be able to learn from mistakes that I'm most likely going to make as I go along. So we're going to hop right into it. I'm going to first make sure that I get tension on this pulley, since this pulley is already loose. It's not really loose, it's loose to the water pump. I'm just going to go ahead and break all those bolts loose and take the pulley off. So here we go. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the pulley right here that's on the water pump that we're going to go ahead and take off. It's got 4 bolts in it. And so what we're going to do is you're going to take a screwdriver. This one's a lot bulkier than what it really needs to be. What you're going to do is you're going to take the screwdriver, you're going to get it on the left side of a bolt, and then take it to the right side of the bolt beneath it. And then you'll take your ratchet, you'll take it to the opposite side. Get a good camera angle here. I don't know if we can. We'll take it to the opposite side. I don't know if you can see that or not. But I got a screwdriver on one side and a ratchet on the other, and then you'll just break the bolt free. And you'll just keep going around, always keeping the end closest to your hand on the screwdriver, keeping this on the left side of the first bolt and the right side of the second bolt. And you'll just go all the way around and break the bolts on the opposite side free. Alright, so now we're going to relieve the tension on the belt. So in the back of the engine bay on this motor anyway, you'll see there is a tensioner right there. For this specific vehicle, it is the section of it that you need to put the breaker bar or ratchet on to relieve the tension is a 3/8 drive. So I do not own a 3/8 drive ratchet, so I improvise a 3/8 drive breaker bar. I only have a 1/2 inch, so what I do is I take an old 3/8 drive ratchet and an old section of tubing from a trampoline, and what I do is I'll get this end onto the tensioner, and then I'll slide this breaker bar right up over top of it, and I'll just pull it up. And what will happen is the tensioner, the bottom of it will come towards the front of the car, relieving the tension on the belt and making it to where you can pull the belt off of the pulleys, and that way we'll be able to take that pulley the rest of the way off. Alright guys, so I went ahead and got that ratchet on the tensioner back there, and I got my breaker bar on here. I'm just going to pull up, just like I said. Watch the light. Pull it up just like that. Whoops. And you can just move the belt out of the way. Considering my thing's in the way, I'll pull it off over here. And then I can relieve the tension. And the belt.
Do it again.
Yeah, I have to do that again. I didn't move it all the way off. So just Alright, so I got the belt off, and I'm just going to show you exactly how wobbly this is. But, like, get it a little bit further this way. That way you can... I mean, it should be, like, solid. It shouldn't move at all other than the back and forth motion that it should be. It shouldn't be side to side movement at all. So, we got the bolts out, so... Now, since I can't just pull it off by hand, we're just going to take a screwdriver here and pry it right there, just like that, and pull it off. Okay, so we're over here at the workbench, just to show you guys what I meant by how to loosen up these bolts. So the housing of the water pump is right here in the circle here, where there's no material. So what I was talking about was you take your screwdriver, if the pulley's on like this, you're gonna take the screwdriver, you're gonna put it on the left side of the top bolt and the right side of the bottom bolt. That'll keep tension on it, so whenever you take your ratchet and you go to loosen it, you're going to be able to keep it in place. And you'll be able to loosen the other side. So you can loosen these two over here, and then, whoops, and then you can move over, or you can move the pulley, you can turn it, and you can do it like this. You can put it on the two loose ones, and then you can break the two tight ones. So that's how you would, you'd loosen this. You could do it like that if the center of the water pump was not there. But because the water pump is right there, you're not able to do that, so you have to do it like this. Here we go, you guys. We went ahead, we just took off that pulley, and we're getting ready to take all these bolts off. There should be 5 of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through. I'm going to break all of them loose, and I'll just take them all out. Alright, so we were having a little bit of difficulty getting it to break free due to it being on here for how long it has been. So what I did was I just took a screwdriver. I put it right on it has a little downgrade to where the bolt sits. So I put it on one side of it. It doesn't really matter which side you put it on. For example, just put it right there. I took a rubber mallet, could be any sort of hammer, but I whacked the end of the screwdriver, and it turned it enough to where now there's a gap between the two surfaces. And I'll just take it on the back side of where the bolt goes and push it over like that on accident, and leak coolant everywhere, like a boss. I just barely sat the screwdriver on it and just fell off. I meant to do that, by the way. I really didn't know. But now we have a huge coolant mess, but there's always a mess in this garage, so it doesn't really matter. But, so we'll just pull this guy out and take a look at it. Alright guys, so we got the old water pump off. We got the new one right here. So, of course, like any part, you want to make sure that everything is exactly the same, or close to exactly the same. So all the bolt holes, they're all in the same location. And you want to make sure you take your pulley, and you want to make sure that all the bolt holes are going to line up exactly where they should be. And this one does. And then, of course, you're going to take a look at the back side. And of course, since that's an older style pump or water pump, the impellers are going to look different. Sorry. So this one is just a little bit newer. They changed the style, and this is what the new one is going to look like. But everything should go back together exactly how it should be. The new one did come with a paper gasket, but unfortunately, we did not get the sealant that we need, so we're going to have to run into town and get some sealant. You're just supposed to put a small film of sealant on each side of the gasket or on the water pump, and the mating surface that's on the engine. That way you won't get premature wear on the gasket, and your pump will overall last longer. So we're going to go into the store and we're going to go and get that sealant. Alright, so we just got back from the store. We ended up not being able to get exactly what we wanted. This is our old stuff that's rubberized now. But from our understanding, this stuff here will work just as well, because it's really just supposed to fill in the minor imperfections in the paper gasket. We also got a retractable scraper. That way we can clean up that mating surface on the engine, so we can get all that old gasket off. And we got some coolant, because we didn't have any and we lost a lot of it on the floor. So we got coolant to put in there when we're done. Of course, we're going to have to let this set up and dry before we put that in that. But let's go ahead and put this new water pump in. You want to make sure not to scratch up the surface here, because you want everything to stay good here. Alright guys, so I went ahead and cleaned that mating surface that's on the engine. So I'm just going to take this sealer here, I'm going to put a very small layer of it on the water pump, and I'm going to put the gasket on it, and I'm going to put a little bit on the other side of the gasket, and then we'll go put it on there. So here we go. Alright, so we got the bolts loosely fitted on there. We ended up having problems getting the water pump to fit back on correctly because it can only go on there one way, and the bolt pattern is just slightly different if you put it on wrong. But it can only go on there one way, because so that way all the bolts will line up properly. So now we're just going to take our 8mm or 5/16, and we're going to tighten up the bolts in a crisscross pattern. That way we don't get anything in a bind and we don't strip it out. Also, we need to remember that it is aluminum, not steel, so we can't over tighten them, otherwise we will strip the threads out. So we got all the bolts snugged up nicely, so now we're going to go ahead and torque them down. So here we go. Went ahead and swapped back over to my 10mm, so you're blinding me. So now, in order to tighten these bolts, you'll do the same thing to loosen them, just instead of the first bolt being on the left side, or instead of for the first bolt, the screwdriver being on the left side of the bolt, and the second bolt it being on the right side, you'll put it on the right side on the first bolt, and the left side on the second one. So, we'll just take it, we'll put it like it, yeah, we'll put it like that, right there, and then we'll take it, and we'll snug it up like that, and we'll go to the other one, and we'll snug it up as well. And now I'll spin it, and I'll put the screwdriver over here, and I'll tighten these ones down. So now it is time to put the belt back on, and I was working on this engine before, so I already had this diagram of the way the belt's supposed to go on. I personally would do it before, but I already had it made, so I didn't make another one. Of course, you can find a diagram for your belt online, as well as your owner's manual. But we'll just go ahead and put this back on. It'd just be the reverse order of the way that you take it off. Alright, so I just wanted to say a few more things about the belt. Over time, they do get stretched out and they get worn, so you want to make sure that yours is in good condition before you put it back on, just for safety, and for that way your belt will last for a while, and you won't have to take it back off again or put a new one back on sooner than you need to. You also want to make sure that it's not rubbing on anything. That way it doesn't wear it down quicker. You also want to make sure that it's going on all the arms correctly. I accidentally made the mistake of having my drawing upside down, so I ended up getting it wrong the first time. I just flipped it back around, and I did it again, but whoops. But anyway, you just gotta make sure everything's right. Just keep it away from sharp objects, and before you put it in, whenever you take it back out, make sure you don't crease it, because it can damage the belt every now and then. So just make sure you don't crease it whenever you take it off and put it back on. But there you guys go. Alright, so just a few more things before I wrap up this day and we go on to the next. But I have not put coolant in the radiator or any of the lines yet, because the gasket maker, or RTV, right, is not dry yet, or it hasn't cured yet. So we don't want anything. We don't want any of the coolant leaking back out overnight. So we're just gonna wait for it to dry or cure for 24 hours before we try and start it up again. And I'm going to put some coolant in it before we start it, of course. But so we'll see you tomorrow. Alright, so it's the next day, and we're getting ready to fill up the vehicle with coolant. That way we can start it up. Yep. So there you guys go. That's how you change a water pump in a 3400 SFI engine. One other thing before we go, make sure whenever you're done to look over around the water pump for leaks, just to make sure that it's sealed up nicely. But other than that, that's how you change one. And I hope you guys subscribe, hit the bell icon right next to the subscribe button, so you guys will come back and watch one of my future videos.